Today we take this supercharged 3800 motor that I've built to take a big turbo and butt it up against my Muncie 4-speed transmission from my 84 Fiero. There it goes. Dude, it's bad. It's so bad. That's gnarly. First things first though, before we actually get this motor hooked up to that transmission, we're actually missing a few things on it right now. So we still have another valve cover that needs to go on. This one's on, but if you couldn't tell, not fully. We have our alternator bracket, which I actually have right here, but the issue is we're missing the L bracket, or the L tubing for my coolant. And I actually had one. I actually dropped it about 5 minutes ago and shattered it. So we're gonna go pick up the upgraded one. I needed one anyways. I was putting it off because they're like 20 bucks and I didn't want to spend the money on it, but at this point, obviously, it was a sign that I needed one. So after that's done, I've got a few bolts that need to go in this thing to get it all put back together, run the belt, and then pull it off of this engine stand. Let's get these covers tightened down, make sure everything's nice and good on the outside of the motor so that nothing can get back into it, and go on from there. All right, so here we have our front valve cover, and I was gonna run 2 black ones since I have a full set of the black ones and I have a full set of these red ones, but it matches the intake or the supercharger up here a little bit better with the red one, so we're gonna run with this. I've got to find the correct socket for it real quick, so let me grab that. All right, so we've got our 3/8 socket here. We're just gonna tighten these down, hand tight for now, and then go through and tighten them down, you know, just good and tight, making an X pattern until they're tight. Tight. All right, there's our front valve cover on. So as you can tell, something odd about this is if you're used to the 3800 platform in the Grand Prix or the Bonnevilles or any of them, this usually is not on the side where the serpentine belt's on that side and the transmission's on this side. It's actually flipped around. This is because when you put it in the back end of the Fiero, it's basically like you picked up the whole motor from the front end of a car and put it in the back. Well, if this was in the front of the motor, I wouldn't be able to fill it with oil. So you just flip the valve covers around. It's, you know, easy enough. A lot of people, or one of my buddies I've seen, they took 2 of these, which I have 2 of them, and I may end up doing here in the future to kind of help with some stuff. They make a catch can out of it using another one of the filler valve covers in the rear. All right, there's both our valve covers. All we've got to do now is we've got to pick up that L-shaped hose for the coolant line so I can put that on. And once we get that on and all this stuff bolted in and my alternator on, then we can take this off and I'll show you guys somewhere else where I messed up as well. Kind of an issue. I screwed up a little bit, but it happens and we'll get it figured out here soon. All right, so it is the next day. We have went out and picked out some of the things that we need. So these little metal elbow pieces for that coolant line, some blue thread locker for our flywheel, and an energy drink because I need them. I have an addiction. We got all those things, so we're gonna take our metal coolant lines here, throw this thing on real quick. If I can get them open. Ouch. And all we're gonna do here is we're gonna take our bracket here, slide one end into here, get it to fit in nice and cleanly. We got our other end, make sure it sits the right direction, slide that guy in there, into our coolant hole. Probably could have used some lubricant, but it's all right. It can be kind of a pain sometimes to get it all the way in. That's what she said. There we go. There's our first piece. Now we've got to grab our alternator and throw our alternator right here. Take our alternator. This side slides, oops. No, yeah, that's right. This side slides like this, over top of there. And then this side is supposed to line up at the bottom. Once you get this thing to actually slide on, like right there. That looks right. Now we've just got to throw these bolts in. The bolt that goes here, the bolt that goes here, and the bolt that goes to here. And now I got to find them because I don't know where they're at. All right, there's our alternator bracket all on. Everything's good there. So now we just got to move this guy down and get our belt on correctly and find the bolts for that guy, which won't be difficult. We just got to find them and slide that one over this, because that will be a lot easier than that. There we go. Nice and tensioned, nice and tight. There's the only belt that this motor will need anymore, because we no longer have a supercharger here to take up a whole nother spot, which is cool. Kind of neat. We'll never have to deal with any of that junk anymore. When this was put in, I forgot to put, it is a little chilly, I forgot to put in blue Loctite or anything to actually hold this thing in correctly. And so the flywheel actually wobbled on the crank, which is phenomenal. And now I gotta figure out a way to try to get it off, and it doesn't like to come off. And it's being a... You're hitting that bitch hard. There we go. Dude, it's bad. It's so bad.
I was supposed to be there at 6.
Ooh.
It's 6 o'clock.
Ooh. It completely wobbled on that whole... I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's like, it wobbled on that whole crankshaft. So what I'll probably end up doing is just take a Dremel to it. This part's fine, because this is aluminum, this is steel, so the aluminum should break away before the steel does, so it's good. That's gnarly. I cooked that shit. Funny enough, this motor had, oh, f me.
What do you got this motor? Fuck me.
Well, I was gonna say it has no leaks, but it does.
Where?
On the oil pan,
Well,
just
where's
one
the
spot.
gasket?
No, I did. The block, I need to tap and die the block. With a bigger bolt. We just finished kind of grinding out that area that had the bit of a lip. So hopefully when this goes back on, it'll slide on a little bit better. And I'll have the bolts actually torqued down correctly and everything done right. So this time we won't get these marks. This flywheel is basically brand new, so I'm not too worried about these. It should wear in fine. It's not super deep grooves at all. They're just kind of surface grooves. So a couple small ones that I'm a little worried about, but it shouldn't be anything that'll affect it too far. So when we slide this on, it should hopefully slide on correctly, and it should bolt on to where it needs to, which is right about there, without having any wobble to it anymore. And the bolts that I got, the correct bolts that I got now, should hold it in place better than what was there before. So hopefully that'll fix a lot of our issue. Now we've got to get these bolts back in it, torque them down correctly, and hook it up to the transmission.
Yes, no.
Talk about a healthy amount of blue thread locker. All right, and that one will never come out. I'm tightening these down in a star pattern to try to make sure that everything goes on correctly this time. There we go, we got a flywheel back on. Check that shit out, twin. So now all I got left is my 50 degrees all the way around. There you go, there's your 50 degrees and your 11 foot-pounds all the way around. Now, it's time to put this thing up against the transmission. Psych, I lied. I forgot I still have to put on the clutch. So that's useful, obviously. We've got our clutch here. It's also got some dings and stuff in it, but oh well. Throw that in there. Our alignment dowel. Slide this guy on and in, like so. And then we just gotta figure out where our bolts line up. So one of these bolts should have a yellow marking on it, right there. And that should line up perfectly with the rest of them. We're gonna line these up and get our bolts to start to thread in at least a little. There you go. There is our clutch and flywheel fully on and assembled. And now we get to put this thing up to the transmission, which is gonna be a funky kind of thing to do, but we'll see how we do it. It ain't light. Now the goal is to slide this thing far enough back where you can get a hang of the rest of our stuff. Gotta take out that throwout bearing, the one right there, that throwout bearing. Replace it because it's used and old and gross, and I didn't replace it last time because I didn't have the space to do it. But fortunately, it shouldn't be all that bad. There we go. I mean, it's still happy. It's not that happy. It's kind of happy. I got a new one though. There you go, new throwout bearing. And just as easy as the other one came out, this one should go in. Oh wait, no, yeah, there you go. New throwout bearing. Installed. Old throwout bearing, junk. Oh shit. No. Motor is down. And I've just gotta pull this thing in close. Maybe rotate this thing a bit. Oh, it's really down. This is where it gets shitty because it's f***ing heavy. There it goes. And there's our motor and trans together. Again. For the 4th time, I think. All we gotta do now is throw bolts in it. And we've got our motor and trans back together. Alright guys, well that's gonna do it for today's video. We've got our motor and our transmission butted up together and they're ready to go back on the cradle. If you guys are excited for this project, come back next time. We're gonna be making our engine or our transmission mounts for this transmission to mount up to that cradle. And we should be able to hopefully get this motor back underneath the car where it belongs and be able to actually start getting this thing fully put back together so we can start on the turbo kit.